My name is Rhonda Cobham-Sander, and I teach at Amherst College in the Departments of English and Black Studies. And I'm sort of Mike and I are loosely moderating this panel, which celebrates the 50th anniversary of A Better Chance. And before I started, I wanted to say that if there are people here besides Dick who were part of the class of 1969, I wanted to say a big thank you to you, because I don't think many people know this, but the Amherst class of 69 voted the money that they should have used for their college yearbook, the Olio, they voted as a group and won the vote. It didn't mean everybody agreed, but a lot of people voted to donate that money to funding the very first ABC program that was actually held here at Amherst College campus in the summer of '69. So there's a long relationship between this particular class that's celebrating its 50th anniversary this week and the ABC program, which is also celebrating its 50th anniversary. And if you're going to be in town, you're cordially invited to join us at the ABC House after the reunion program. The house will be open until 6 p.m., and all Amherst College alumni families and friends are welcome to come. So we hope that you'll be able to join us there, and that there's also information I can share with you at the end about the gala that's happening. But for now, I just want to say that we're going to go just across the panel and say a little bit about what our relationships are to the ABC program, and how we got involved, and what it's done for us, and what we've done with that program. So without further ado, I think I'm going to start with, should I start with you?
Sure.
Yeah? Right.
Sure. Thank you, Rhonda. Can everybody hear okay? Great. Yeah, it's really great to be here and to represent the class of 1969. My remarks are going to be brief. We had a session yesterday about the 1960s, and kind of a history of Amherst during the 60s while we were here, during those 4 years of 65 to 69. And a lot was covered, but one thing that was not covered, but which is very, very, in my mind, very, very consequential, is what happened with our class in our senior year. And I mean, it wasn't, looking back on it now, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but for me to see the Amherst ABC program thrive, 50 years later, is truly not only inspiring, but astounding, and a testament to so many people, not only at Amherst College, but throughout the whole community. And I would just like to offer my immense gratitude for that, and also convey that on behalf of my class. And I'll just say briefly that we are the only class at Amherst College that does not have a yearbook. And the reason that we don't have a yearbook is because in the spring of 1968, a group of 4 students from our class was elected to the student council together. They ran on a common, together, and they were elected. And in the fall of 1968, as there was tremendous, it was a tremendously volatile and difficult and challenging time. There were all kinds of changes going on, and it just difficult. The student council chose to allocate the funds that were going to be going to the yearbook, which, looking back on it now, it doesn't seem like a lot of money, but to us at the time, it did seem like a lot of money. And the decision was made to give those funds to the startup of the Amherst ABC program. And as Rhonda said, there are people in our class. It's still a somewhat controversial issue because we don't have a yearbook, and there were people that still to this day are concerned about that. And there's going to be an article coming out in the Amherst magazine about the Amherst ABC, and in it, interesting, the Afro-American Society, which had formed at that time by Tuffy. Tuffy, could you raise your hand? By Tuffy Simpkins. Thank you so much. They endorsed this whole effort that the class was involved in, but some called it token. And that's understandable. One can definitely understand that the Amherst ABC program in a way doesn't address the structural and the deeper systemic issues behind what Amherst ABC does. But on the other hand, every time that a student from the Amherst ABC program, a scholar from the Amherst ABC program, goes through it and graduates from high school here at Amherst and goes on to college and has a life of meaning and opportunity, that is an incredible victory. And in many ways, I feel, sincerely and genuinely, that having that legacy, and there are now 120 scholars, and we are fortunate to have in the first row some of the scholars with us. That to me is, in many ways, a legacy that kind of makes outdoes a yearbook in many ways, in terms when you think about lives and opportunity and equity. It's very powerful. It was not easy, I will say. In the summer of 1969, we had an incredible summer here at Amherst College, again, which is not well known, but there was a large group of students who were high school students, and they were about to start ABC, not only at Amherst ABC, but around the Northeast. They gathered here, and a group of us were counselors and tutors and so on throughout that whole summer. It was a very powerful summer for me. It basically shaped a lot of my life in terms of how I've addressed things in my life in terms of dealing with equity, particularly in health equity for me. But health and educational equity are profoundly intertwined. The conversations we had that summer, very, very difficult, very challenging. They certainly challenged me. I learned so much from those communications that we had on a daily basis in the summer of '69. And in the article that will be coming out, you'll see a picture from that summer, which is powerful. I should say, before turning it over, is that we did invite two Amherst ABC scholars who then became students at Amherst College and graduated from Amherst and are alumni. And unfortunately, those two alumni who have been very, very dedicated and champions of ABC were not able to attend today, but they're certainly with us here in spirit. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to all who have been involved, the community, the college. It's incredibly gratifying. Thank you.
Thanks. I should say you didn't introduce yourself, Dick, but
Yeah,
for
I'm
those
sorry.
of you who don't know him, Dr. Richard Aronson is a member of that class of '69 and has had a distinguished career as a medical doctor, and I think ended that as in Maine, right?
Wisconsin, Maine, and Vermont. Yeah.
And is now our health professions advisor at Amherst, so we're very lucky to have him. And I know we have other members of the class here who I'll introduce later. But one of the things that Amherst continues to do with ABC is that students at Amherst remain very involved with the program. And we have a couple of students here who are now going to tell you about the work that they've been doing with the program and how it's affected them.
Hi, well, my name is Julian. I'm Julian Ricardo, member of the class of 15. And in terms of my involvement with ABC, I was a tutor and a student leader for all of my years here. Well, 3 years as a student leader, but who's counting? And just in terms of my background and how I got involved with ABC, I grew up in Brooklyn. I went to school in New York, and I did tutoring as a high schooler for a lot of my time to sort of make some money on the side and sort of study for the exams I was trying to do well on at that time. And I came here looking for opportunities to teach, whether that was on campus or off campus. There was a lot to offer, but I saw ABC and I saw that it was an opportunity to work with high schoolers who came from where I came from. At the time, I was in a position where I was learning a lot about the privileges that I had had as a student growing up in New York, and particularly, you know, the instances in going through the public school system where resources make a huge difference, even though that the narrative might not be, you know, necessarily reflective of that reality. And so being a part of ABC, at the time, you know, I was just happy to teach, but since then, in teaching gigs that I've had since graduating and generally in my life as a, you know, a post-grad, the people that I met at ABC, the lessons that I learned, and the sort of the daily grind of making the program work and getting to work with some really great people along the way, you know, I would say it's on par, if not, you know, punching above its weight for experiences I had as an Amherst student. You know, friends and professors are all great, but, you know, in a lot of ways, it's the people that I met through ABC that I would say have made a pretty deep connection with me, and so, you know, I definitely think about ABC a lot more than I do some other things at Amherst that happened to me, and I'm really grateful for it, actually. You know, it's perhaps not what I expected, but it was a really formative experience, I'd say, for me as a student.
Hi, my name is Meghan Sullivan. I just graduated in the class of 2019. It's kind of weird, but it's really a privilege for me to be here as an alumni, I guess, now, like talking about my experience the past 4 years. So a little background about me, I guess. I grew up in Granby, Massachusetts, which is only 20 minutes away from here. I did some peer tutoring in high school and stuff like that. And then when I got to Amherst, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I ended up majoring in math and doing pre-med, but I actually got involved in ABC through basketball. I played on the women's basketball team here, and one of our elder members of the team had been involved in ABC all 4 years of her experience here. And during the winters, I'm not sure who had started it, if it was her previously, but during the winters, like the normal tutors go home for winter vacation or go wherever. So our team, who's kind of stuck on campus, takes up that responsibility, and we do tutoring during the winter weeks. And so that was my first experience. I did that for my first 3 years at Amherst. And then my senior year took on like the responsibility of being a full-time tutor all year long. And for me, it was just a remarkable experience to be able to kind of give back in a way that I didn't really expect to be able to, especially as a local student. I never knew that I was going to go to a local college, but it ended up being really important for me to stay involved in my community and kind of reflect on my experiences as a student and my privilege of being able to go to Amherst College. I mean, for those of you who know Granby High School, it's not really the best school, and it was really amazing for me to be able to work with these students who haven't had the same privileges that even I had just 20 minutes down the road, and like who took on that amazing challenge of going to school like away from their home, but seeing them work hard every day, it really has stuck with me and like shaped the way that I think about my experience and everyone else's experience, and really changed the way that I see education. And it was really a privilege for me to be able to work with all of these students who are here today. It's really cool to see you all here. So thank you for everything that you did for me. It was really, I hope that I was able to help you all in some way, but it was really what you did for me that's really going to stick with me. So thank you.
Thank you. I'll say a few words about my involvement with ABC. When I realized that I was not going to be going home anytime soon to the Caribbean many years ago, after I got tenure at Amherst, I was looking around for things to do to sort of make this home, as opposed to just the place I happen to work. And I was invited to become a host parent. Host parents are the people who volunteered to take a young man from the program into their homes for 1 weekend a month in order to give them a sort of space away from, you know, the big group experience of their primary home at Prospect Street. And as part of getting to know the program, I also became involved in the board. There's a board that runs the program that's made up of people from the college and from the community. And so I was both a host parent and a board member. And I think for most of us who've had that privilege of being host families to visiting ABC, to ABC Scholars, it's a really transformative experience. My host son, Ricky, is now a grown man, married, 2 kids, just moved to South Carolina actually. And these are friendships and connections that stay throughout a lifetime. They just aren't, you know, something that somebody just comes into your house a couple times and that's it. These are connections that stay. And so that connection to ABC, even though I'm no longer on the board, stays both through my connections to my host son, but also because I follow what happens. I try as often as I can to contribute, whether it's financially or with advice, with support of various types. And I would say that getting involved with the ABC program was the thing that made me feel that Amherst was home and not just a place that I worked. So.
Afternoon, everybody. My name is Michael Hawkins. I'm Associate Dean of Admission here at Amherst College, and I've been involved, I started here at the college in 1993 in the admission office, and almost from the beginning of my experience here, ABC has been a part of my life, a part of my personal and professional growth. In fact, as I look out on this audience, I feel like this is sort of like a family reunion because everybody here probably knows as much about the program as I do. I've worked in various ways. My connection began, I think, simply because I grew up in Washington, D.C., and I came to Massachusetts to go to boarding school through the ABC program. And as a result of that, somebody found out I was an ABC guy, and they hunted me down to be on the board. I spent
that guy right there.
Yeah, it was Dale Peterson. And I started on the board in January of 1994, and I spent I think a total of 10 years on the board, actively involved, 7 of those in 2 different stints as chair of the ABC of the board, and literally it was the thing that immersed me both in the Amherst College community and in the town community, and it became an extension of I have 3 children who grew up here in town, 3 biracial children, and so the black community in Amherst I connected to through both at the college and in the town was central to helping me and them develop our identities. And I guess I'll just end by saying, my most beloved colleagues from Amherst and in this town, one of the most important things that happened to me is I got to engage with the university in ways that I wouldn't have expected. I should also just add that, just as for the sake of Amherst alums, that I'm a Williams College alumnus, and I was a captain of the Williams College football team. And so when I first arrived, it felt like kind of enemy territory, but quickly I found allies in the college and in the university. And one of my dearest friends, maybe my dearest friend from Amherst, sitting in the back row, I can see him, John Brigham and his wife Susan. John was a professor at the university for a long time and retired, but I guess you never retire as a professor. But he and many others on the university, professional and faculty, staff, and in the town and the college here became dear friends and advisors for me, and so.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Alan Hart. I'm a professor in the psychology department at Amherst. I'm also a member of the class of 1982 and have been involved with ABC since I first arrived in town in 1996. But my connection to ABC goes back further. I grew up in Williamstown, where Williams College is, so I'm sort of an enemy of a different sort to Amherst. But there was an ABC program in Williamstown that I was familiar with. And when I was growing up, it was literally if you were a person of color, either your last name was Hart or you were an ABC student. And so I really knew ABC since its inception in 1967 in Williamstown. And so when I came to Amherst as a faculty member in 1996, I immediately gravitated, probably the same person who recruited you, I think recruited me initially, Dale, because I didn't know much about the town of Amherst, even having been a student here. But coming back on the faculty, the kinds of things that I hear echoed from the panelists already resonate with me as well. And for me, I would describe it or summarize it as saying it's sort of the work-life balance. And what I love about my connection to ABC is that it's a relationship that is multi-directional, multiple influences, to the point where sometimes it helps round out your life at Amherst as a faculty member, engages you with the community in ways that you wouldn't otherwise. You get sort of, being a faculty member can be a very isolating career. You in the library or the lab and not much else. And being involved with ABC helped bring you out of that shell. But it also allows you to kind of live the aspirations that you hold in your heart. And for me, that's what the most important part was. Because even at a place like this, we talk about liberal arts, we talk about educational opportunity, and the value of an education, and how, the Amherst College motto, Terra Radiant, light the world. So those sort of aspirations have been part of Amherst College for now almost 200 years since its beginning. But ABC has really allowed me to live that motto in a way that complements everything else that I've done as a faculty member here and as a citizen, as a community member in Amherst. So for me, that's been really important. The other thing I would say really briefly, I've been involved with ABC at a number of different levels. Started with organizing the Fall Foliage Walk, which was one of our major fundraisers in 1996. Did that for a few years. I was the board president for about 3 or 4 years. It seemed longer, 3 or 4 years. But during that time, we did a major capital campaign and built a new addition onto the back of the house, sort of the residential part of the house. We've been a host family, my wife and I. Our host son, Devin Clark, graduated from Amherst ABC in 2013, I'm going to say. Graduated from Clark University in 2017 and is now working in New Haven, Connecticut for urban renewal program, urban development and transportation company in Connecticut. So that connection has really, for me, has been a lifelong connection from having people of color be part of my growing up in Williamstown, but then being able to stay connected to individuals within the program, but then also the larger aspirational hopes and dreams that not only we hope to instill in the scholars who come, but it helps us live those same sort of aspirations. And so it's been really powerful to be part of that program for me now for 23 or 4 years.
Thank you. Thanks to all the panelists. So we're a pretty intimate group, and I can tell because, as Alan says, I can recognize almost everybody in the audience. So I think what we want to do now is to throw it open to conversation. There may be some of you who have not been involved in the program for a very long time and who want to hear things about how things have been going. There may be questions that certainly the ABC Scholars may want to ask about stuff that they may be hearing for the first time. And also just testimonies from some of you who've been involved with the program over the years about what it's meant for you, because you could just as easily have been up here representing the college. It's just that today we're doing the alumni network event. So questions, comments, testimonies? Yeah.
So could you just give us some numbers, how many people are in the ABC program?
Yep. Yeah. So there are spaces at the house for up to 8 young men at a time, all men. We do not have a women's ABC program. We've talked about it over the years. So every year, and ideally, there would be 2 people in each graduating class who would leave. Since the beginning, I think we've graduated. At now, it's 120.
Yes.
Around 120 young men have passed through the ABC house. Almost all of them, I would say, have graduated from school, and most of them have gone on to university. And so that's where we are now in terms of numbers. The house is run by a family, usually by a family, by someone who lives with the boys in the house, and sometimes it's a couple with their own children as well. Sometimes it's a single person, but there's always been this family, and then the host parents sort of provide supplemental things. But the number at this point is 120, more or less. 4 years. 4 years of high school. And we have an arrangement with the town that the town allows us to register these students as local students, so we don't have to pay for them. They're sort of taken as residents of the town and eligible for full support from the high school.
So they go to the town?
They go to the town high school.
There's tutoring at the program?
And there's tutoring at the program to help them with issues issues that have to do with schoolwork, but also when it comes time to apply to college. Some of the tutors and many of the board members often help the students to make decisions along with their high school counselors, because their parents aren't here. So a lot of the work that would usually be done, with the parent together, gets done by a combination of board members, host families, and resident counselors.
Is this going to be open to women?
Probably not at the moment.
No.
No.
Well, I can talk a little bit about the history, and not to be sexist or anything, but initially there was a sister program at Mount Holyoke in South Hadley, and so for years the two programs ran in tandem. They couldn't sustain themselves, and so that program went under. Very few of the programs are coeducational. The one in Williamstown was, but Williamstown closed down. They were among the first to start a couple years before we did, but their program just folded 2 years ago. But nationally, ABC National supports more than 2,200 students a year, and about 60% of those students are female. And so part of the way I justify it is that we can't be all things to all people, and what works really well about our program is the smallness of the program. There really is the individual attention. It runs like a family, a large family, but it still runs like a family. And so there are some parameters that have helped make us successful, and that the all-maleness has been part of that.
Where does the money come from?
Our pockets.
From generous donors like you. No.
Mostly, yeah.
Can I?
Go ahead, yeah.
Unless somebody else wants to say. So we have been a United Way agency for a long time, and historically, a large percentage of the operating budget, which is now probably about $110,000 a year, the bulk of that used to come directly from United Way contributions from employees as part of the 5 colleges and other ways that people donated through the United Way. But for the last, I'm going to say 10 or 20 years, since September 11th, the United Way has been struggling locally and nationally, and the percentage of our budget that comes from the United Way is down to, I'm going to say, less than 20%, if that's accurate. Lower than south. My friends in the audience are telling me south of 20%, 10% maybe. Where maybe the high water mark it was as much as 80% came from United Way. Now people still make donor designations, which I do as an Amherst College employee. I make a donor designation to the ABC program, but the amount of money that we get from ABC is less than 20%, and so we do it from fundraising. The Fall Foliage Walk has been a major source of our income. It's become a walk-run. We're doing 2 weeks from today, we're doing a gala celebration to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the program, being hosted by the university, and Amherst College has been one of the lead supporters, and that's going to bring in a large percentage of the budget, but it's really fundraising, sort of one-on-one fundraising. And there's a little bit of corporate sponsorship in the town, but Amherst is largely residential, so there aren't a lot of big corporations to draw from. So we really do it with a lot of smaller contributions from a lot of people.
One of the most endearing parts, I don't know if it still happens, but certainly when I was on the board, it was important, that happens with the fundraising, is that the scholars have helped with this a lot. One of the things that Amherst ABC has been able to do is to really develop, to help the scholars in the program think of themselves as leaders. And this means giving them opportunities to speak in public, to represent the program, to talk to others. And it used to be the case, and I don't know if it still is now, that the scholars would go out to the elementary schools in the area and give presentations about what they were doing. And so then the elementary school students were often very important in raising small amounts, but really important amounts. And it was the beginning of their relationship with the program, because the other thing, as both Alan and Michael have talked about, is that the ABC House becomes a kind of magnet for other students in the community who are looking for a place to assemble, who are looking for ways to think about their identity. It becomes a very nurturing space. So rather than what happens, I think, at some of the bigger boarding school ABCs where, students often used to feel very isolated. The students at Amherst have always formed a very strong cohort, both at the school and in the community, and this has drawn other students to them. So a lot of the fundraising then comes through the parents of some of those kids who become friends with ABC kids when they're in school. So, the sort of family keeps growing in a lot of different directions. Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm Rob Simpson. I am a member of the class of 1969, and I was the captain of the football team. And I was a green dean in admission, so Michael, you and I should have some conversations. Yeah. I think we have, actually.
Yes.
But I do remember that the conversation about the yearbook quite well. I don't remember when the decision was made. Dick, do you remember what timing it was in the year?
Yeah, it was made in the fall.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I do remember in the football team there were definitely conversations that we were having about it. Some guys saying, geez, I want this thing to memorialize my time here, remember my friends, but as we talked about it, the thing that came up was one of the halfbacks said, I came to Amherst to learn how to have the courage to do the right thing. This is the right thing, and that was the end of the discussion. And I just wanted to add that point. The football team tends to be close-knit. They talk about issues that are going around on the campus among themselves often to sort of figure out what's happening and how they want to represent themselves. And they know they're a target to certain, attributions, like anybody in the colleges, in any particular group. So it was important for us to talk about it, and I felt good that we came to that decision as well. And it was fairly unanimous. I mean, certainly there was a sense of loss about it, yearbook, I mean, today I went down to the archives, and I'm looking in the archives, and you go and 65, 66, 67, 60, no 69, and which of course I already knew. And then I went back and looked at some of the pictures of the earlier years, and so I could see the memories of myself on campus somewhere in the cafeteria, whatever. And I did have a sense of the loss of not having the book. But I also had the sense, because Dick and I have talked about this, it's just the pride that the college, that we had as a team of people, all at the time 301 of us, to do what we felt was the right thing. So just wanted to underscore that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there's another question, Tracy. Up. Thank you.
I don't know where to start with this, but my name is Janice Denton.
Hi, Jim.
You know that name? And now the ABC program
Can you speak a little louder?
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, pull the mic more closely.
My name is Janice Denton, and now the ABC program is celebrating this month, its 50th anniversary. My former husband, James Denton, was on the first board for ABC, and then I was on many of the boards after that. There were several of us who had fundraisers on the town common, like we did an art show and all of that sort of stuff to raise money for the ABC. And when it first started, there was a young man who was the resident person in there. And, excuse me, he was not, I guess, careful of understanding about hygiene as far as the house went. So Mildred Spencer and I, for some reason it came to our attention that things were going wrong over there. So we go over there and we found the kids hadn't did in their laundry. I mean, it was a mess. So we made the kids get out of bed and do the laundry. and all of that stuff. And then a woman by the name of Herder Paulson started a fundraiser on the town common to raise money for ABC, and she was really successful at what she did. And then there was a student, I think his name was Terry Medley,
Yes.
who graduated from the local high school and then came to Amherst College, and he was the first student to come and graduate from Amherst College. I have to tell you, I worked here at Amherst College for over 50 years, and my former husband was a math professor here when he was on the board at the ABC. But it really does my old heart good that it is functioning and that there is promise in it for young kids, because during those years, 50 years ago, you know, we just kept our fingers crossed from one day to another. And we were known as the old black mamas, which was Mildred Spencer and myself. And we would go over there and make the kids get out of bed and do their laundry and all of that stuff. But I remember it with nice pains in my heart.
Thank you. Thank you, Janice. Janice, for many years, worked in the library at Amherst College. Yes. John Brigham, another former board chair who I haven't seen for a long time. Hi, John.
Thanks very much, and it's really exciting to be sharing this with all of you, to be recognized from down there.
Could you
Thanks
put
for
the
that.
mic a little closer?
Yeah. I'm fascinated by the idea of tokenism coming up in this context, as I can remember it would have come up back then 50 years ago. And it strikes me as kind of exciting at a liberal arts college to think of something, a concept as basic as tokenism, which in the case of the yearbook clearly was kind of an argument against funding this program, an argument against making small moves to do something right. And I'm pleased to share in this, because like, as Michael said, many of us were changed, a number of you said, we were changed in our involvement with ABC, and I certainly appreciate that change, but just in the context here, appreciate this reflection on the meaning of a yearbook, or the meaning of young people's lives at one time and what they can do over a longer period of time, because it does seem that the detailed, small changes that we all had in us from being involved with ABC are an argument against the notion that tokenism stops you from doing good things. So thanks very much for this.
Thank you.
Could I just say something? I just want to, Terry Medley, who I believe you mentioned, thank you so much. We did invite him to come, and unfortunately he couldn't. He graduated from Amherst in the class of 1970, excuse me, 74, and he was interviewed for the article that I mentioned that's going to be coming out in the Amherst Alumni magazine later this summer. I just want to read you a quote from him, because I think it's important for his voice to be expressed here. Terry was the youngest of seven, lost his parents as a little boy, was raised by an older sister, grew up in a segregated town in Virginia, went to a high school where fewer than 5% of students headed to college. A prophetic guidance counselor recognized his potential and hectored him to try ABC. Quote, "That program was the difference for me," unquote, he says. When I got to Amherst and the ABC house, I was introduced to the whole idea of learning for learning's sake. I had never thought that way before. I mean, that just opened up an entirely new door for me. Terry Medley, who majored in Black Studies at Amherst, which, again, thanks to the efforts of Tuffy and others, started soon after we graduated, Terry became an expert in biosafety and led the first governmental efforts to regulate technological companies.
Oh, thank you. I think we had one behind there, and then we'll come back to Teffy. Yes?
Can you, I don't know if this is on.
Could you?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
My name is Eileen Rosen. I'm class of '84, and I am on the board of the ABC in Lower Merion Township, Pennsylvania, where I live now. When I was here, I was not aware that ABC existed, and one issue that we have in Lower Merion is lack of visibility. We're finding that not that many people know about the program, and I wonder if you have that same thing. The article that you just mentioned obviously speaks to that. Might help address that, but I just wondered if you could speak about that and what you do in those efforts.
Maybe we should turn first to the students to hear how you heard about ABC and what your impression is about its visibility within the college, and then we can maybe talk a little bit about outside.
Yeah, sure. Like I mentioned before, my involvement started through basketball and through knowing a member of the tutors program, but from my experience, it seems that there's kind of a variety of students who've gotten involved in the program, and through the student leadership, there's like a voice heard that way and an opportunity to become involved. I know there was like information about it during the beginning of the semester. There's like every year there's a like club thing, and I believe that at the club fair there's mentioning of the ABC tutor opportunity, and as well as the fall foliage like walk run that happens early on in the year, that happens like right around campus, so it's very visible in that sense, like in the fact that it literally happens like just down the road from us. So I don't know what your thoughts are.
I would definitely second that you know the expo is a great way for visibility among the student body, but for me you know the main factor I guess would be that when I was here, the Center for Community Engagement was a clear, tangible effort on the school's part to put money towards this, and so I was able to, consider a tutorship position and a student leadership position alongside the other campus jobs that existed here, and that was, it's not the same, I guess, philosophical attraction to the program that we've all discussed and have all made clear, but I think that was a huge push for me, and when I was a student leader for 3 years, trying to get more tutors involved, I saw that was a huge factor as well, and so just a school and institution, and then also folks who I was able to work with more directly. When I got the sense that they had my back, that I could take time to put money and resources towards recruiting students and being able to follow that up with an offer of, well, if you have work study, this is a great opportunity for you to both fulfill what you want to do as a student, but also take care of. Also know that the school is taking care of you on the back end. I think that was a huge part of improving, our recruiting efforts during my time here.
Mm-hmm.
Has the college been, I know that the class of '69 started it, so the college has been involved in that one, but has the college been involved in helping to find tutors and that thing all along, or was that relationship started?
That relationship has come and gone in various ways. I don't think it's nearly as strong as it was when you were here, and it's something we've been talking a lot to the administration about getting back in there. The other issue, and I don't know if somebody who's here who's on the board now may speak to, is about how to recruit people to the board and host families and that sort of stuff, because as is true in almost all college towns like this, the baby boomers are moving through, so a lot of the people who were very involved in things like the ABC from its early days are now in retirement, moving on, and the question is, how do you get new people involved in the board and committed to what's going on? So I don't know if there's anybody there. Wendy, you'd probably be the person to say.
Yeah, just to add to that, the start of ABC, Amherst ABC, was really the whole community. It was beyond Amherst College. It was the many people in the town of Amherst and around it, in the community, got together to start this program. And also, there were a number of faculty and staff at the college at that time that were also champions. So it was a combined effort. And I just learned today, this is a historical footnote, that 2 Amherst College students actually lived in the house in the school year 1969-1970, so the year after we graduated, they were resident tutors, and they lived in the house that year, and that was, I think eventually there was a tutor was hired.
Yeah, now
right?
we have the tutor.
So in the first years, in the 70s, there were tutors going on, but as Rhonda said, it's kind of, it's been up and down.
Mm-hmm. I think we've been putting off Tuffy. Yeah. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Tuffy Simpkins, class of '69, the founder and the first president of the Afro-American Society then, and now the Black Student Union. And I'm just warms my heart to see where ABC is now. And as I reflect back on the conversations we had, I think the idea of tokenism was very unfortunate and misguided. I don't remember these things in detail. I may not have even been still the president at the end of '68.
I think people are having a little trouble hearing you.
Oh, okay.
So that
okay.
mic, you've got to hold it
I'm
right.
a little troubled. Got to talk directly into this mic. I'm a little troubled by the word tokenism because it connotes a degree of insincerity, and that's certainly not the case here. If you mean small, that's everything that we're going to do in that regard is going to be small compared to the magnitude of the problem nationwide. However, I'm just a little troubled by the word tokenism, and I want to formally reject it and say that this is really sincere. I think it's a model for what students at Amherst and other colleges should be doing. I'm reminded of the literacy program, the literacy museum that my wife and I saw in Cuba, where the literacy rate was very low in Cuba at the beginning of the 60s. And thousands of Cubans participated in this literacy program to teach others to read and write. And they're so proud of that. If you go there, they're so proud of this achievement. Their literacy rate is higher than ours in the United States. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't students at Amherst? Why shouldn't Amherst College have part of its education effort see it as something they should support? They should support students reaching out to others outside of this community. That's what education is all about. And these things happen in other countries. We hear all this propaganda about Cuba, but this is a wonderful thing that happened there. Why shouldn't we go out and teach others who may not be able to read, register people to vote? These are things, this is a model for what should be happening throughout the campus. So I want to endorse it again, and I want to reject the idea that this was tokenism at all. Kill it once and for all.
Yeah. Thank you.
One question.
Yes, there's somebody up here.
Anthony Wright, class of '93. First I want to commend the students who've been involved in this, and just wanted if they could talk more about the connections between this program and the ABC students who arrive at Amherst College from other programs, as well as maybe other feeder type programs, and I say this as a prep for prep grad.
Mm-hmm.
Can I start, give you a little answer to that, and then maybe turn it over to Michael? The one thing I did want to note that there are more than 115, I think is the number of Amherst College graduates who went to other ABC programs. And of those 115, there are 8 who are Amherst ABC and Amherst College alums. So there is a little bit of a interconnectedness that way as well. But I wonder if, Michael, you would speak to about the different programs of.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would start this way, just to make when I started with the ABC program as a student, when I was 14, I'm 57 years old now, half of my scholarship to St. Mark's School was paid by the national program. The national program doesn't have anywhere near those resources anymore, and I don't think there's nothing aside from helping the program connect to students that they provide. And I say that mainly to point out that there are many, many more competitors, if you will, or many more folks in the market like Prep for Prep and programs around the country, Quest Bridge. Amherst deserves a lot of credit for being a leader among national universities and liberal arts colleges for recruiting and admitting and matriculating a tremendously diverse student body, and we have lots of partners in community-based organizations, and so like Questbridge, and there are hundreds more, and they're proliferating. I would say there's nothing more important that our office does than making those connections with networks of programs in cities throughout the country and rural areas, by that measure, who help us find high-achieving students of color from lower-income backgrounds, first-generation college-going students. So I hope that speaks to your question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Could we hear from the students? Tell us a little bit about themselves, these students.
Yeah.
Are you up for it?
These students.
Are you up for
The
it?
scholars, yes.
Do you want to talk? Yeah? Yeah.
My name's Pierre.
Yeah. You have to make it loud. I don't know.
I think.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yep.
Okay.
That's right.
I'm Pierre. I'm a junior in the high school. I've been in the program since my freshman year. Grew up in Bridgeport, Connecticut. What else would you like to know?
Can,
I want to major in business management.
yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. One of the things the students do that is really important is that we ask them to take part in an extracurricular and a sport. There are these things they have to do when they're ABC students, and I don't know which of them you're doing now. What activities are you involved in outside of class?
In the fall, I play football. In the spring, I play lacrosse. And I'm also part of a club in school called POCU, which is People of Color United.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know. You look so much like that.
My name is Rashawn. I'm from Paterson, New Jersey. I'm a junior. I came here last year as a sophomore. I want to go to college to study business, but I don't know exactly what I want to study in the field of business. Right now, I design clothes, just to sell for myself, my own brand. I'm also part of POCU. I tried running track this year, but my knee messed up. So.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Daniel. I'm a sophomore. I do football in the fall, and I hope to pursue a career in art. I'm not sure whether it's going to be graphic design or fashion. And yeah.
Thank you.
My name is Azumir. I'm a freshman. I came this year, and I play soccer.
Hello, my name is Matthew. I'm a sophomore. Came here as a freshman. I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut. I don't do a sport as of now, but next year I'm planning to do soccer or track.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. As you can see, they're already accomplished public speakers, and it's actually one of the things we love most, those of us who have stayed with the program, is watching the young men come from being boys to really growing up, getting to be taller than we are, and also becoming more and more adept at presenting themselves and their interests and their works as they go along. So it's a wonderful program. I think we're almost out of time, so I don't know if anybody else has a question or comment they want to make. If not, I just wanted to also introduce you to some of the people who are really doing the heavy lifting this year. Wendy Kohler is the chair of the board. And I'm going to blank now on the other members of the
resident directors.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have a representative of one of the resident directors, Sid Ferreira.
Right.
incoming president-elect.
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, and your name? I've forgotten.
Keith Nesbitt.
Yes, Keith Nesbitt.
Yes. And then some lots of wonderful old hands who are on the committee. So,
other board members.
Yeah.
Meg Hart is there.
Yeah.
Rika and Clements in the blue.
Yeah.
Way in the back.
Oh yeah. Hi.
Jane Lovett.
Yeah.
Who works as a staff member at the college.
And
Is that it? Have we missed anybody
yeah.
who's currently on the board?
Yeah.
No, wonderful.
Yeah, but we remind you that the house will be open. There'll be open house at the house. There are directions here about how to get there until 6 o'clock this evening. And please, if you can just find a time to just drop over. It's just behind CVS on Prospect downtown. And it's as I said, it became home for me in many ways. And I think that even if you just have a chance to be there for a short amount of time,
if I could make one more, a couple of announcements before you speak, to also remind people, if you're in town, 2 weeks from today is the 50th Gala celebration, and we've got half a sheet of paper to talk about it. The house is 74 North Prospect, and also there's a terrific website, AmherstAbetterChance.org. So if you want to take a look after you leave here, feel free to go online and check it out. So it's AmherstAbetterChance.org with no punctuation. And Sid, did you want to say a comment too?
Yeah, Sid Ferreira. I'm one of the co-residential directors with my wife, Isabel Ferreira. I just want to thank you for putting this event together on behalf of the House. And thank you, class of 1969, for taking the initiative of donating, your class book, towards the ABC. I just want to encourage the other folks that when you guys want to see your yearbook, just come by the ABC house, and we have an alumni wall, and that is your yearbook, because you guys changed lives and you continue to change lives by doing that, okay? So there's lots of memories in those probably 90 people that we have on the wall and more that are going through. So that will be your yearbook, so thank you for doing that, and thank you for supporting the house, and thank you for all the members who are here, and for you guys for doing this. The tutors are always amazing. They do some amazing work. So come on, give the tutors another hand of applause. They're amazing. So we just want to thank you from the bottom of our heart for everything that you do. So come by the house, see the house. We'll give you a tour. Actually, we'll have the guys to give you a tour. Oh, they'll show you their rooms. They look great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.